Okay, let's start. Why? So, you know definitely that STQB is producing the syllabus, it's doing certification, but as each of the other organizations, from time to time, there is some kind of internal projects. And someday, some nice people figure out, okay, we have something like website, and this looks like this car. It's not nice, not looking good. It's not working well on the mobile. It's the graphic is very, very bad. So we end up with the decision. It's time to change something. And I believe that this is the very common approach, that whatever project you're working with, from time to time there is new person, new approach, new director, new whatever, and there is a big decision. Okay, we're doing something, but let's do it in different way. Let's change something. Let's throw it away and implement, or so let's do some kind of internal project. Usually in testing, there's kind of internal project like, let's do it automation, and since that day, everything will be great. The idea and the why, it's always the same. The practice usually, surprisingly, is very similar. Of course, so when we have decision, and in theory we have the budget, there is always decision who. And friend of mine described some situation like, and we are the people who has the 10, 15, 20 years of the experience. We usually have the big seniority, and we think that we have great experience. We know everything. We've done so many projects, so we are some kind of adventures in the testing. Yeah, but this is only our personal opinion, and this is our bias. So even if we think that at the very beginning, I'm good enough to start with project, this will be internal one, what can happen. And it's, on the one hand, it's good to be that kind of, person and trying to do something more, that trying to be, for example, project owner, project manager, instead of our regular role as a tester. But we need to be careful because it brings also a lot of feedback and not always pleasant feedback. So in 4 years ago, 4+, I was that kind of person, and I think, okay, I have some kind of experience, I'm doing something on my local board, because I'm also in the Polish testing board, some kind of position, so it's time to do something on the international level. And then there was selection for the marketing chair in the STQB, so I started, and I was that kind of guy, pick me, I will deliver the new website. Because what can be difficult with doing yet another website? We've done 1,000 times. Yeah, it changed my life. At the very beginning, it looks very, very similar because the website. But in that time, the few friends come back to me and say, "Be careful. This is not as easy as it looks at the very beginning." And probably in your project is the same. You have already some kind of plan. And let's start doing. From the day one, we would deliver the value. This is fine. But what I learned, we need to figure out really from the beginning and check let's say, the entry status of our project. From my case, the goal was obvious. The stakeholders. So something like requirements at the very beginning looks obvious, but when we go very, very deep in the project, we learn, no. Budget. We as a tester, we are playing with the software, we are finding bugs, defects, but when we doing some kind of, develop ourselves, when we going to different role, now there are money, trying to be more and more important in our career. And we as a project owner or budget owner or whatever role it's your organization, we need to take care about the money. But, there's challenges. We are like challenges. And I have feeling that I have great people in my team, and there's a lot of these people, so we'll manage. We'll defeat all the pitfalls. Let's start with the first thing. In that case, that time the website of the STQB has something like 50,000 pages there. So the day one when I started working, I just find a random spider tool, just try to download on the website, just to playing with it. I thought this is as easy as collecting, combining each other generation, and then figure out something. It was not that easy. We end up. Oh, why it's not? GIF is not working. Okay, those nails should work through the street. So in that, we started this project and we identify what was missing on the very beginning, and from the maybe not the day one, but for the first sprint, we identify what we don't know. Definitely identified roles. So I think this is very common that you are approaching to the project and your project has no defined requirements. You still have the problems. For example, if you're able to, in your project from the day one, say, what is the value, for who is delivering? Some of the questions are very easy when you start thinking, without the context, but in the time, you're finding there are totally different answers there. And this was the same from our perspective. At the very beginning, website, for who? For the public. Just the people come back to our website and learn something about the STQB. But in that time, we learned that not only analyze. For the website, it's fairly easy because usually we are using some kind of analytics, and we have some kind of data, let's say end user data. So we know who are going to us, what kind of toolset they're using, what kind of location, geographic location, language, all those stuff. So we are, on the good position. In your project, it could be much more different, much more different as well. But from my experience and my knowledge on that position, even if it's difficult, it's worth to ask about this and try to collect everything that you're able to collect. Even that you will go to your project owner and ask about this, and you got no, it's still an important thing to approach this and try to get those data. Member boards. So member boards are part of our organization, and this is an example of how bad we identify the roles, because we identify as a public, but then we find out that, okay, in this public, there's a special group of the public, in this special group, which has totally different expectation, and they have their own, values. They would like to build their own visibility on the website, and probably in your project is the same. It's very easy to identify a big group of the people, but it's very hard to divide those groups and define different, let's say, variant or flavors of people, because it's, for example, the bank application. We all bank customers, but we not all are using the same product in this application. And some of us will be more interesting is, account. Some other will, play with stocks, for example. So there are different variants, but we are still those customers. And the vendor. It's recorded, so I cannot be, really, honest. But let's say I'm admire company who step into testing organization and say, yeah, I deliver software to you. We are leaders in, certification in testing. So in theory, everything that will be delivered to us, it should be the highest possible quality. And let's imagine that your organization now is supposed to deliver something. And you have to sign, yeah, it's a good quality, and sending it to a guy who, figure out the syllabus that you have been certified. It's tricky, but those company manage. I really, admire them for this. Fun fact is that it was cultural difference. Again, the company was from Israel, so it was totally different culture from the project team. But this is something that we learn because we all, or most of us, working with the multicultural organization. So this is something that we are deal with. But there was some other different things happened. Currently, we know what is happening on the world. When we're doing this project, there was yet another escalation in Israel. So each hour stand up, starting with the additional question: where you spend your night? In the bedroom or in the shelter? Because in Israel, most of the people, wealthy people, has the shelter. So this was something that it was yet another bias that we didn't thought when we start the project with them. Later, we found much more difference between us. For example, UX person, the roles, responsibilities. In the contract was written that in the project team there needs to be UX person, but nobody defined what is the person. Our definition in the middle of the project was totally different than their definition. For them, it was kind of graphic designer. For us, it was totally different person. Process. Probably most of us, most of you know that what is agile and to understand the demo. It's basic. Everyone of this know this. But for example, in my organization, currently the term demo is replaced with the playback. It's exactly the same, but has different name. And this is something that we end up with those vendor. In theory, we use the same word, but in practice, we have totally different meaning. And this was something that was really, really fun, especially from now, because we are an organization which standardized the testing. So we're expecting from our vendor that at least they're familiar with those, standardization. Yeah. Yet another thing, making approaches before the project is a bad habit. We cannot do approaches, we should ask and we should confirm. So again, we're processing, we're trying to fight with all those, problems. The meeting 1, big team. Long time after, meeting 12. A little bit more complex. And yeah. A little bit, and on purpose it's not readable, but again, if you think about the goals, and when we have the 15K pages, and now you have to fit into 5, it's getting challenge. So it was really, really fun, and in that time, me as a let's say leader in that moment, was not only important that we need to deliver something and we should happy, but also thinking about how we working. And after these 20 meetings, it was very easy to count how much resources we spent. At first, we were proud because we agree with some kind of picture. But if we come back, it was 20 times per 10 people per 1 hour, so it was enormous amount of the time, and I was lucky because it was a voluntary project, so none of us was paid for this. But in your organization, you see how it could impact on the budget, and the budget again, it was already committed at the day 1, and you need to be in the budget. What was work fine in my case? Of course, this is my observation, so in your organization it will be totally different, but this is something that helped me to deliver this stuff. So first of all, improve the visibility and awareness, because if you're starting some kind of project, especially your company website project, everyone are involved, everyone interested, everyone asking when. So instead of not spending time for soon in the next week, in the next quarter, we just try to involve those people somehow and send them something to test, collect the feedback, and then we have the backlog, which is nice because we have a lot of other idea that was originally from outside of our project team. So it was additional value. Also, our website supposed to be cooperate with the additional applications. For us, it was a glossary application. So this was something that at the very beginning of the project, we have two different applications, two silos, and the goal was to join them. So what we've done at the very, very beginning, as soon as we agree for the interface, we release something which is not ready, which was mock, but they was able to test doing in the other application. So in the time we deliver our website, they was already integrated. So this works totally fine. Budget. We never, and I don't know the project that are in budget. And my advice, try to challenge. Of course, it will be, you got answer no. But if you start challenging, maybe it's open a discussion for the other stuff. If not the budget, or maybe the scope, or maybe it's time. This is always, good to have it. Stakeholders in the loop. Yeah, eventually it's much easier to work with 3 people instead of 10 or 20 or whole organization. And what we learn and what we use, because some of the decision was on the organization level, so totally outside of our project team, it was worth to have the most important people in the short loop just to confirm few decisions to not be surprised in the day one of the release. For me also, it was really important to reduce the size of the team. Because to make a decision with the 10 people in the team from different contexts, from different culture, it was really challenging. There's always someone was unhappy. So eventually we reduced the team at least double. Later I will show you exact digits. What we have next, okay, what we also learn, and probably this is something that can be applicable for you, even that we try to identify all those roles, even we try to identify all those skills that need, in the project we learn that we're still missing some kind of skills. And what to do? You cannot say that, okay, we won't deliver this project because I don't have the UX expert, or I don't know database specialist. For us, it was SEO expert. Try to imagine how to deliver a website without the SEO expertise. It's not possible because it's supposed to be built from the day one. In our project, we haven't that kind of person. So my advice was find a person in your team that is interested in this subject, or this is your responsibility. For us, it was my responsibility. I sit down, do all the courses, and get basic stuff just to unblock the project. And something that was the most important to me, agree that not everything must be fixed now, especially the word now. As I mentioned in the very beginning, we are very quality-driven people, and we would like to deliver the best stuff, especially that will be public, blah, blah, blah. Everyone has their opinion. But eventually, you have to find that moment that you say, okay, it's perfect for now, and we can go in that way and fix the yet another stuff, in the next week, in the next month or the quarter, but start looking for that moment. When you're in the middle of the project, start to look around and see what kind of moment it could be for you. About the UX, there was some kind of question about the acceptance testing and testing functionality, non-functionality, performance. We all know the UX stuff. It's something that usually at the very beginning is we feel that okay, it's let's click something, let's see whether it's readable, whether it's nice. But is it related to pictures? Yes, as well. For example, this is the portfolio of the STQB. When we started this project from the old page, and well, my personal opinion, it doesn't look, sexy. But so next to doing the project in the website, next to the finding the content from the website, next to identify everything, the new graphic, of course, needs to be delivered. But cannot be how to change something which is the core of the organization. The portfolio is the most important thing in the organization. So what I learned in this project, So if you think that UX is easy, it's not. It's extremely hard. We end up with different pictures, and we have, as you see, a big difference. And it's really hard to make the final decision, which is the best. And the engineer will give you the tools, but the decision will be on your position. And if you think that we end up with this, and if you think that it's easy, well, this is only the picture that will be on the website. Nobody cares about this. So after some of the analysis, we figure out the website might be shit, but this picture needs to be the best thing in the website. And why? Go outside this room and see the flip chart. The flip chart is exactly the same picture. We knew that as soon as we figure out new portfolio, those pictures will be distributed to all member boards, to all over the world, and those boards will take and implement those pictures. So we are working in theory on the website, but in practice we are working on the marketing material that will be distributed to all the world. And of course, it needs to be nice, fresh looking, it needs to be inclusive, so we need to address situation that somebody don't recognize the colors. It needs to show the concept, the basic concept. So that's why I think that good UX designing, good graphical designing is one of the difficult things, because if we engineer, this is your hard skill. You can learn, you can get familiar with the toolset, all those stuff. Here, we're working with the impression, and impression is something it's really hard to be with. Okay, eventually we shipped, and for me, since I'm looking from the middle of the project when to ship, it was the situation when we got metrics as it is. So we track the backlog, and we see that in the backlog we have the more or less control. We have still 20 tickets not solved, but they were not critical. So okay, it's fine. Reduce the team. Eventually we end up with 3 people in the team. Again, this is voluntary project, and this was 20 plus meetings, so nobody believe anymore that we delivered. People were tired. People needs to focus on their job, which they got be paid. So in our project, 3 people was good enough, because it allow us to deliver this, and still we were able to know what is happening and to make the quick decision. About the defect I already said. Visibility of our website. So we, as I mentioned, we get familiar with the analytics, so we knew that since the day one, our website will be visit by the new person per 1 minute. So so the feedback that we're gonna collect will be after something like 60 plus seconds. So this will be the first person that will be there. After an hour, we will start, see that whether the performance is good enough, whether it's loading. We have, of course, one person that keep asking when. So we usually don't like those people in the organization, but yeah, nobody. But they are useful. Yeah, what I learned, they're very useful, because they paying attention to what you're doing, and this drive you. So this is also important, and even that the first impression is that I don't like it, we need to get familiar with these people and not treat it as an attack, but try to to deal with this person. And for my case, it was almost end of my cadency. So when I stepped into this cadency, I said, okay, I delivered the website, and in the 6th week, there's end. So it was a good enough moment to me to just ship, and then make decision, okay, can I stay or no? And probably this decision was outside of me, because it depends on the feedback on the website. If it was good, it was chance to me to stay. If not, then I can say, okay, thank you, I learned a lot, and make retro and not coming back. Eventually, it was success. The new website is there. Hopefully, you see it. If not, I recommend to go there. We've do the best. Please don't break it in a few minutes after the talk. But I recommend you and please send me the feedback because we're still working on this. There are a few concepts that we are trying to let's say, polish. As for now, the website is still there. Nobody break it. There was few bugs. There was some issues, but it survived, and we are a year and something after going live, and I didn't got feedback like it's bad. And those implementation, like for example, Armenian testing board, when they taking those graphics and implementing on the local level, showing that I guess there was something valuable in this project. And thank you for your attention. Questions? Yeah. Do you have any questions? I got some, what is? T-shirt, ticket. So maybe comment that, for example, I don't like this website because of, and I will give you the ticket. This is the tough. Next one will be easy. I like this website because of. Okay, have you seen those? Have you notified that those website was changed? Okay, so now you're gonna go there. Yes, please do that.
I didn't use this site, but I think he is good.
Mm-hmm. So this is exactly why we have this talk today, because I would like to show that ISTQB, even this quality organization, we have the same problem like you have in your organization. You have the same people. We have the same vendors that don't understand the context because it's so much difficult. And in different way, we are the ISTQB is a community that is built on your communities. So each time that you think that you have something important to contribute, don't think just push to your local board or you push directly to us. And maybe because I'm bad in managing my own time, so maybe not answering in the instantly or in the week, but definitely this feedback that we are collecting. So will be here still. So if you want to talk. Okay, so thank you again.